Hey there, makers. Welcome back to Middle to Made. Today, we're going to have a little bit of a different video. A lot more impromptu, a lot more off the cuff. I actually have V from 3D Printed Freedom talking about the latest SHOT Show debacle, I guess. If you missed it, Jacob basically received an email saying that his application to show up to SHOT Show this year was denied because he is 3D printing and he's displaying 3D printed parts. And Nevada does have some ghost gun laws, so there's some stuff going on with that. But in general, it seemed as if SHOT was not going to allow additive manufacturing, which has a lot of implications for the big companies too. And there's some companies like MK Machining who that's what they do. They 3D print. So um, it's a pretty big deal. Well, let's jump into my conversation with V. The audio got a little messed up on my end, so you won't hear any of mine. It's just going to be him, and it's a little bit of a longer video. So if you're going on a car ride, this might be something that's good for audio. This might be something that'll be a little bit more entertaining to listen to necessarily than to watch, but he'll be on screen so you can see his beautiful face if you would like. Without further ado, here is Jacob's take and his story and big update. So check the chapters if you need to skip around. But there is a big update at the end on what's going on with SHOT Show.
For those of y'all who don't know me, I am V. I that's how I go on Matrix. That's how I go on Twitter. Right. I am the owner of 3D Print Freedom. If you've seen the emails, my name is Jacob. Everybody knows me as V, so we'll just go by that for now. But yeah, so I am the owner of 3D Print Freedom. I am a one, sometimes two-man shop. We do a lot of the parts kits here. And we do our best really to try and make the 3D printing community as accessible to the brand new guy as we possibly can, right? So by putting everything together, we can just set it out, make it as easy as Legos. That's always been our goal from the beginning. Well, about 6 months ago, back at SHOT Show 2023, we partnered and got connected with a company called Pierce Armory out of Canada to work on their SKX project. So you'll hear some of the terms on that thrown around. The SKX is a from scratch design based on the SKX, and the FAL, basically just a tandem pistol rifle, it's designed for reliability in austere environments and modularity, kind of combining the best of all the different worlds there. So we've been working on that project kind of behind the scenes for about 6 months. And just recently, right, we decided we were going to make SHOT Show 2024 the big announcement. We were going to make sure everything was ready to go, and we were going to start getting distributors at SHOT Show. So it was going to be new product announcement. That's how we were going to launch it. So just like last year, right, we reached out to SHOT Show. There's a new exhibitor application, right? Since we had been there as attendees with another booth, they're not a big deal. SHOT Show is big about additive manufacturing. They get so much press about additive manufacturing. Additive this, additive that, 3D printed this, 3D printed that. Said, great. We're a 3D printing company. We're a shoe-in. A 3D printing company, additive manufacturing, new production rifle, Type 7 manufacturing. So we don't have to worry about the Nevada scary ghost gun laws. Shoe-in. Application goes out Friday. Clearly, obviously I don't hear anything over the weekend. Monday, 5 p.m. I get an email that says, we're sorry, your application is denied. We are not allowing 3D printed firearms at SHOT Show. Thanks, Mike Clark, Convex. News to me, because 2023 SHOT Show was all about that. You saw the Magpul booth. You actually got to touch that thing. That was 3D printed. So we reached out. I immediately, not even 15 minutes after I got that email, saw the notification. I called them because, Frank, I hate doing business by email as best I can. Everybody knows me. I'll own it. I'm terrible at emails. If you send something to customer service email, it's probably going to be 2 weeks before I get back to it. I check it like twice a week. It's on me. I'm sorry. Emails suck. The order of things I hate is meetings, then emails, then face-to-face stuff. That's where I like to sit. So I immediately call him back. I'm like, hey, Mike, maybe you've misunderstood. We're not bringing scary ghost guns. And he goes, I'm just going by the rules. I go, what's the rules say, Mike? No 3D printed guns. Okay. I explain our situation, right? We're a Type 7 manufacturer. This is a production rifle. The receiver is metal. The barrels are metal. We make production parts. We've partnered with other companies. We are displaying as a joint company for this one specific product. We 3D print. Great. Our business card says 3D printing services. And here's our rifle. That's all we're doing. That's all we do. And I said, we're not displaying parts kits. I get it. Wrong market. 100%, right? SHOT Show is not anybody can get into SHOT Show. I think a lot of people don't realize that. It's not like a gun show where you pay your $20 and you get in. SHOT Show is distributors, manufacturers, suppliers. It is 100% like industry showcase, right? So, which is fine, right? And of course, people do their own personal shopping, but it's about industry showcase. And I explained that. I said, you know what? Our production rifle happens to use 3D printed parts. We're using SLS and MJF manufacturing, just like all of these other companies. He goes, I called out Keltec specifically, and he goes, well, I don't know anything about Keltec. It's like, I mean, sure, probably for the best, but they pay you a lot of money, so you probably should know something. But anyways, I said, look, I'd like to appeal this. Here's why. Explained it all a second time. He said, that's fine. Send me an email. So I sent him an email. And I go, here's the situation. If it's our name, 3D Print Freedom, I can abbreviate it. I can, in your brochure, we'll call it skxrifles.com or something, right? We'll do that. I get it. You're worried about the ghost gun laws. There's liabilities. You kicked out DefCAD last year because they were asking about ghost guns. We're not DefCAD. We're not ghost guns. What you want to do a booth audit? You want to come over and check all my guns for serial numbers? Like we'll work with you. We get it. You're a big company and you're lawyers and your insurance. So what do you need? He forwards it to the National Shooting Sports Foundation, the big boys. So a lot of people don't realize this, right? You and I understand how contracting works. We were actually just talking about that before the show, but National Shooting Sports Foundation doesn't run SHOT Show. They own SHOT Show. They don't run it. They contract to another company. I believe the name is Convex or something very, very similar to that. It's actually on those emails, which is where Mike works. So Convex is going to be their boots on the ground, if you will, right? They set up the display. They set up the parking. They set up the curtains. They set up subcontractors to do lighting and organization, and it goes down the chain of contractors and subcontractors. So Convex acts as their booth administration, and then once you're approved, then you get a contact and an account with National Shooting Sports. So he forwards it on to their board. He apparently had already done that the first time. He then sent my appeal along, and they sent back a response, and they said, great, your SHOT Show application is approved. If you don't use your business name, you don't have any 3D printed guns, you don't have any 3D printed gun parts, you don't have any 3D printed accessories on display, which by their definition would include phone stands, business card holders, a 3D printer, display pieces, marketing materials, anything that says 3D Print Freedom, anything that says 3D printing, anything that's made of plastic and has convenient looking layer lines, none. You're good to go. Reapply. It's all 100%. 3D printing is such a big deal. Additive manufacturing is the way of the future. Hell, if I'm not a big, environmentalist by any means, reduce, reuse, recycle by all means, but if you want to talk about clean manufacturing, right, just come from a total environmentalist perspective, which is the trendy thing to do these days, right? additive manufacturing is way, way greener than subtractive. There's a lot of the materials are recyclable. There's less waste product. There's less energy consumed machining or adding. Right? It is much better from so many perspectives. Right? It's got its pros and cons. Right? It's not perfect. It's a tool, but to just straight up say, "Hey, no 3D printing," absolutely blew my mind. At that point, I was on the verge of just not going to SHOT Show, and that's when we put out the different posts and we said, "Hey, here's what's going on. Here's what you should know." Because if true, right, and that was their policy, then all of the booths, like you're talking about, they're not going to be there. Or if they're there, they got to pretend like all their products don't exist. I mean, SIG apparently hasn't had a booth for several years, but Dead Air Silencers has a booth. Keltec has a booth. I mean, hell, I call that 20 companies, big companies, that they were all excited about coming, had all over their floor plan, all over their advertising. That just sucks to be them. Guess they're not. Or the policy isn't applied equally, and it's the small boys they don't like. It didn't make any sense, and I had it's bullshit one way or the other. Either it's a bullshit rule, or it's bullshit because you're not applying it equally, or it's bullshit because that's not really a rule, and you just don't like what my company does with supporting the 3D printing community. Sheridan Arms was the one to break it. And he was saying he's at something like 55,000 impressions on that post. When I shared the news on our page, I think we were up to 30 as of this morning. The update was somewhere near another 10,000 when we got that email back. So, hell, in the last 2 days, I've had people start commenting on National Shooting Sports Foundation, tagging them in posts. I had one guy call me yesterday. This was the sweetest thing. I was so blown away by what the community did when I put it out there. This guy calls me up. Fair Hayes, probably just another customer, asking about order status. I answer the phone, and he immediately goes, "Hey, so I want to know more about SHOT Show." Hey, great. I'm sitting here. I'm parkerizing some parts, sitting there, and I was like, "Yeah, I got time. Let's chat." So I wanted to hear it from the horse's mouth. I was like, "All right." So I go through the story with him, and he goes, "Well, I wanted to let you know I called him today. I called their customer service line. The lady was very nice, and I felt bad, but I told her company was shitty." And he proceeds to tell me, like, "Hey, I called them. I told them that I thought their decision was dumb and they need to pass that up, and it's not cool. And they're trying to shut down one of the largest areas of innovation in the gun community. I just wanted you to know, keep doing what you're doing. I'm a new guy in the 3D printing space. Hadn't heard of you guys before I saw your post, but now I'm looking." Um, and that was super cool, right? Some guy who had never heard of us saw that post and said, "That's funny," and took the time to call National Shooting Sports Foundation. I'm sure he probably is not the only one. And then to call me and tell me about it I was like, "That's cool," you know. Um, the community was amazing. The response was overwhelming, and I really appreciate everything everybody's done. KAK they said, "Hey, jump through the hoops. For what you're working on, it's worth it." And I was like, I get it. It's important for us to be there to get these distributors, but it's still, and they're like, "Yeah, we get it, we agree." And I put some feelers out there to other people to see if they'd heard it, and everybody thought it was like, "I never heard of that. That's weird." But most of my contacts are traditional manufacturing, and it's fine. They know what we do, but they're like, it doesn't really apply to us at SHOT Show. But yeah, that is weird. But yeah, so you're the first to hear this update. I don't even think my wife knows about this. I just told her that news happened. So I get home from work today and I try getting a hold of them again, right? because they said, well, hey, your application's approved, because I had reapplied under SKX Rifles, which was fine. That's what we're coming as anyways. It's what was going to be on the banners. And it said approved. Here's your dashboard. Here's your login. No problem. I was like, that's weird. That's weird. That's too quick. And so for the third time, I tried getting a hold of National Shooting Sports Foundation directly. I've been given a contact name, and through their directory, I was able to track a phone number down. So I've been calling for 2 days now, and finally I get a hold of him. Gentleman's name is Chris. He is their executive sales director and of sales and services, something like that. It's on that email there, and I go, Chris, our application's been approved, but before I give you $6,000 to put up a booth for 4 days, what does this mean? What does no 3D printing mean? And they backtracked every single word. This is what the real news is, right? NSSF and Convex hate small manufacturers and want to see us die, right? Great. Everybody knew that. Welcome to SHOT Show. They shove you in the back corner and they go, here's your chance to make it big. But what was crazy was I said, what does no 3D printing mean? And he says, well, 3D printing's fine. It's like, well, that's not what your voice says. I was like, this is what I'm doing. I'm a Type 7 manufacturer. My name is on the guns. You can't get 3D print freedom off the guns because ATF trumps you. He's like, that's fine. Said, so if I put 3D print freedom on the banner, SKX Rifles by 3D print freedom and Pierce Armory, you're good with that. He's like, yeah, that's fine. Can I put 3D printed gun parts on the table? Yeah. My rifle has 3D printed parts. Is that cool? Oh, yeah, that's fine. Go. So what do you mean no 3D printing? Goes, look, SHOT Show is not for consumer products. SHOT Show is for the distributors, and we're very exclusive about what we allow people to show at SHOT Show. We don't want your 3D printed gun parts at SHOT Show. Wrong market. We're here for the distributors. And 3D printing takes business away from our distributors. That is a quote. We are here for the distributors. That's our market. 3D printing takes away business from our distributors by bypassing them. What he said was the gun industry is scared. They are scared of 3D printing. Not the technology. They are scared of the 3D printing community taking their business away and making them irrelevant. Because imagine this, right? Imagine this. So I'm a manufacturer, right? I come up with a design. Middleton, I hire you. I still need you to look at that scope rail, by the way. It's still ugly. I hire you. You help me come up with a kit, right? Or laughs. I go, laughs, here's my basic gun. You design some furniture for it. And I come up with this cool design. It's super trendy and everybody's gonna love it. And I go, here's the thing. I don't really want to sell it in retail stores. I don't want to go through a dealer. I wonder if I could sell directly to consumers. What if I just package all of this stuff in a little box and I just send it to their house and I have them print the receiver? Man, I just cut out like 3 middlemen. I am the Tesla of gun manufacturing. Who needs car dealers when I can be the dealer? SHOT Show is worried that the 3D printing community will make them irrelevant. And this was my whole take on it, right? life gives you a situation, right? Everybody says lemons into lemonade, and sure, whatever. Yeah, it's a bullshit saying in a lot of cases, but seriously, right? Life is going to give you situations, and you choose how to handle it. I was talking to Ryan Pierce yesterday, and he was like, "Hey, I saw your posts. Did we just poke God in the eye and pray he didn't come down with lightning and retribution?" I was like, yeah, I did. But here's the thing: one way or the other, this works out. Either SHOT Show backtracks and they go, "Wait, hang on, we just pissed off a giant. Maybe 3D printing's cool," and they give us a seat at the table with the big boys. And they go, 3D printing. And now what we've managed to do is we've put a 3D printing company in the spotlight. They have their eyes on us. Other manufacturers have their eyes on us. And we never, by the way, as 3D Print Freedom, my goal is not to be the biggest or the bestest 3D printing person, right? My intention on founding our business was distributed manufacturing. It was, how can I set up a model that anybody can copy? How can I help other guys get started? Right? And we've been in business for coming up on 3 years now, and so far, right, that vision hasn't been fully seen. But by putting a representative of the 3D printing community at the seat with big boys, we win. And I said, here's the thing: if they completely shut us down, they say no 3D printing, 3D printing's evil, 3D printing this, 3D printing that, ghost guns. I said, we're going to start a media shitstorm so big we can't be ignored. If not, right, the beginning of something else. I've had 3 independent people message me, people who have knowledge, who have businesses, people who have locations, message me trying to start an alternate SHOT Show. I've had people message me and say, "Hey, could we tack on 2 days before Gunmakers match as a maker fair? We'll call it, Gunmakers Fair, right? Can we create some things for the community, right? Can we come up, right?" There was that NRA show. Yeah, there was that NRA show like 10 years ago. It was like, no AR-15s, and you don't hear about them anymore. And people are like, "That's what we're going to do to SHOT Show. We're going to make something else that competes with SHOT Show. We're going to go create something else." And they're scared of that. They're downright scared of that. And they've backtracked, is what's happened. So either their rules don't exist and they're letting poorly knowledged people speak on their behalf, right? I've had contractors do that. I get it. You got to give them a slap on the wrists and set them on their way. Tell them, hey, that's dumb, right? Which is just bad. And they also refused in writing to correct that. I asked for it. I said, "Can you send me in writing that this is not the policy?" And they said, "Nah, just read the rules, which aren't posted for public reading. They're there for approved applicants, right? I've got a copy now." But they refused in writing to correct policy and to say that. So how many other companies? I know PY2A had applied. Right? How many other attendees from the 3D printing community wanted to show up and just got told no and didn't appeal? How many small mom and pop shops got told no and didn't have enough social media presence to tell the SHOT Show to fuck themselves? Excuse me. I get riled about this. And again, they are scared. The 3D printing community has put SHOT Show on the defensive. And now they can't take it away. We've cracked Pandora's box. They know that we have the ability as a community, as a driver of industry, right, to blow this shit up. And this is why businesses like CZ shouldn't be mad at us. They should adapt. CZ hired 3 extra customer service people, but did they hire any extra machinists? We sold them out. Aussie sold them out. At one point, they were 10,000 bolts back ordered, right? Big manufacturers have the ability to get in to the 3D printing community, interface with us, and earn a market share. KAK has done a wonderful job of that. When I called them back in January, they were so excited. I talked to Chris, he's my sales rep, and I've talked to Kurt, the CEO, owner of the company. Both of them were through the roof. They said, "This is the coolest thing. We would love to have your business. We would love to work with you as a supplier. What can we do? Can we send you products? Let's look at your drawings. Let's look at this. Let's look at that." What if CZ did that? What if Glock came out and said, "You know what? Let's put some kits together. Y'all print some frames." They don't make that much money on their frames. Let's be honest. It's a $3 injection molded part. Imagine they just start sending those people's doors. Hell, I saw I was on Gunbroker and I saw it was one of those crappy Rome revolvers, right? Gunbusters had accidentally listed the frame and suddenly a $25 kit was a $400 kit, right? If Glock took $50 off of their price and just sent you a Glock to your door without a frame, you know how many people would buy that in a heartbeat? Dad, put me down. I'd do that. How about High Point? What if High Point started selling parts kits? Right? You know how many C9s or J45s that they would sell in the first week? They wouldn't even have to assemble them. Throw the parts in a bag and call it good. If this is the policy, are you applying it equally? If it's not the policy, then correct it. Correct your statement. They backtracked, but never actually recanted in writing. So we'll see how it ends up. We're putting the deposit down this week. We're still going to make it happen. We were asked to, quote, tone down the 3D printing when we display our booth. But now the guy at National Shooting Sports Foundation was reasonably cooperative and helpful, and he didn't have a problem with us having stuff. It was just, please tone it down and don't talk about parts kits. All right. That's not what we were there for anyways, guys. That's what we tried to tell you. We'll sell that. We'll hype that up on Reddit. We'll hype that up on Twitter and Facebook. But at the end of the day, that's the wrong crowd at SHOT Show. But but inadvertently what they told us was they're scared. The 3D printing community has them by the balls.
The fuck are you still doing here? You actually stuck to the whole video? Appreciate that. I really do. If you actually did make it through the whole video, thank you so much. I really do appreciate the watch hours and the support. This is going up on all platforms, so I'm not only on YouTube anymore. I'm actually quite afraid to post most things to YouTube because they keep striking my stuff. So I'm on Player, I'm on Rumble. All the links for that stuff should be in the description. And if you want to keep up with me, buy me a coffee. Although that's the subscription service I use for my beta testing, it also has newsletters, so that's the best way to keep up with me. If you want to keep up with everything else and just see stuff without getting stuff in your email, Instagram and middletomade.com. Those are the two places where you're going to see everything that's going on. So I'll see you guys next time, and you can't stop the signal.